Among the many mysteries surrounding the Vatican, there is a secret that seems to have been erased from history. A machine capable of capturing the past as if it were a film. Imagine being able to watch, with your own eyes, the crucifixion of Christ, hear the speeches of great orators of ancient Rome, or witness moments that shaped the destiny of humanity. This machine, known as the Chronovisor, is said to have been developed by a group of scientists led by a Benedictine monk, but it soon disappeared, shrouded in rumors of secrecy and prohibition. Why would something so revolutionary have been hidden? Could it be that the Vatican feared the impact of this technology on faith and power? Or is it possible that the very nature of time holds secrets we were never meant to uncover? Throughout this narrative, we will delve into the obscure details of this story, exploring its origins, the claims about what was revealed, and most importantly, attempting to answer. Did the Chronovisor really exist, or is it just another carefully constructed myth? The story of the Chronovisor begins in the 1950s, in a quiet and isolated monastery in Italy. Father Pellegrino Ernetti, a Benedictine monk, was a man equally dedicated to faith and science. Born in 1925, he stood out not only for his religious activities but also for his passion for physics and classical music. His brilliant mind moved between biblical teachings and scientific complexities, which to him were not mutually exclusive. Ernetti believed that everything that happens in the universe leaves an energy trace, like an eternal impression engraved into the fabric of time. Inspired by this idea, he began to investigate whether these echoes of the past could be captured. According to the priest's own account, he was not alone. During a meeting with physicist Enrico Fermi, a Nobel Prize winner, and Wernher von Braun, the renowned aerospace engineer, a bold idea emerged: to create a device capable of tuning in to these echoes of the past, like an antenna picking up invisible waves. The concept was as revolutionary as it was unsettling. How could it be possible to see the past? For Ernetti, time was not a straight line but a river that could be observed from different angles. Historical events, great or small, would continue to exist in some energetic form, simply waiting to be revealed. Thus was born the hypothesis that gave rise to the Chronovisor. The construction of the device, according to Ernetti, was a mix of advanced technology and spiritual knowledge. He claimed that the machine worked like a sophisticated radio, but instead of capturing sound waves, it captured residual electromagnetic waves left by past events. The device was composed of antennas, coils, and a screen, where images of the past would be projected like an old film. Such a specific description raises a curious point. How could a mere monk have developed something so complex? Here lies one of the first great mysteries of the Chronovisor. Did Enrico Fermi and Wernher von Braun really help build the device? Or was Father Ernetti speaking metaphorically, mentioning these names to lend credibility to his story? Documents from the time are vague, but the monk's name began circulating among scientists and theologians, further fueling suspicions. Ernetti himself, in later interviews, maintained that the construction of the Chronovisor was not just a technological effort but also a spiritual achievement. For him, science and faith walked hand in hand. Could it be that the device was, in fact, an amalgamation of the laws of physics and ancient esoteric knowledge? After all, the idea that the past can be recorded finds parallels in various spiritual traditions, such as the Akashic Records, a kind of universal library where everything that exists or has existed is eternally documented. However, the secret of the Chronovisor was not immediately revealed to the public. Ernetti claimed that, upon capturing the images, he and his collaborators realized just how dangerous this technology could be. A machine capable of revealing any event of the past represented an immense risk. Governments could use it as a surveillance tool. Enemies could manipulate history, altering the perception of truth. And, perhaps most concerning, people's faith could be profoundly shaken. It was then that the Vatican is said to have become aware of the Chronovisor's existence. At first, the Church regarded Ernetti's work with caution. As an institution that values faith above material proof, the existence of a machine that could confirm or deny sacred events was a paradox. Could spiritual belief be reconciled with such cold and definitive technology? The pressure on Ernetti increased. According to unofficial reports, the Vatican allegedly intervened directly to ensure that the Chronovisor was kept secret. Ernetti, loyal to his church, agreed. The machine was said to have been dismantled and all records destroyed or, as many believe, stored in the Vatican secret archives, where the darkest and most controversial documents of Christian history are kept. Curiously, Father Ernetti never denied the existence of the Chronovisor. Even in his final days, when questioned, he reaffirmed that the machine was real. In one of his most well-known statements, he said, "Time is like a river. We do not see it, but it is always there, flowing and storing everything that has ever happened." If the Chronovisor truly existed, how was it possible that a monk and a group of scientists managed to touch the limits of time? And if the Vatican intervened, would that not be proof that this machine was indeed capable of revealing indisputable truths? Perhaps the most important question is, what exactly did they see with the Chronovisor that made them decide to hide it from the world? The Chronovisor, according to Father Pellegrino Ernetti, not only confirmed known historical events but brought them to life with an astonishing and fascinating level of precision. For the monk, time erased nothing. Everything remained recorded in the universe, like eternal echoes waiting to be tuned into. And that is what the machine did. One of the first visions reported by Ernetti was, without a doubt, the most extraordinary: the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. He described the scene in nearly cinematic detail. Christ was nailed to the cross, his face marked by suffering and his body bloodied from the lashes. His eyes, fixed on the sky, conveyed a mix of pain and serenity, like someone who had already accepted his fate. The sun, according to Ernetti, cast reddish hues over Mount Golgotha, while the murmurs of the crowd and the sound of Roman spears pierced the silence of the scene. Even the soldiers' garments, worn, covered in dust, were described. It was such a vivid image that it seemed like more than a simple vision. It was as if he had traveled directly into the past. This description sparked heated debates. If what Ernetti saw was true, then the crucifixion of Christ could be considered the greatest historical proof of Christianity. However, for others, such a real vision could shake faith, as it would turn a divine moment into something excessively human. Beyond the crucifixion, Father Ernetti claimed to have witnessed one of the most important speeches of ancient Rome, Cicero's address in the Roman Senate. This historic moment, long lost, was described by him as a demonstration of oratory so powerful that it made the walls of the Senate tremble. He mentioned Cicero standing tall, gesturing firmly, his strong voice echoing as he convinced the crowd with his sharp words. What were these words? Were they recorded with accuracy by the machine? No one knows, but the mere idea of recovering moments like this makes us question. How many speeches, treaties, and decisive debates has humanity lost forever? The Chronovisor, however, was not limited to grand events. Father Ernetti reported having seen ordinary scenes from the past, such as everyday life in medieval villages. He mentioned observing women carrying heavy baskets of wheat, men plowing the fields, and children playing in cobbled streets under the watchful eyes of their mothers. Monks, in turn, appeared in dark monasteries, writing on scrolls by the light of flickering candles that swayed with every breeze. For Ernetti, these images were proof that every second of human life leaves a trace and that, if we knew where to look, we could relive even the simplest moments. However, the most controversial revelation came in the form of a photograph of Jesus Christ on the cross. Ernetti presented the image as proof of the Chronovisor's functionality. The figure showed a bearded man with a serene face, looking upward with an expression of surrender. It was a simple yet powerful image. Nevertheless, critics were quick to attack it. They claimed the photo was identical to a religious statue found in an Italian church. Father Ernetti, however, never wavered in his assertion. To him, the photograph was genuine. When questioned about the similarities, he responded with an enigmatic phrase, "The truth bothers those who prefer the comfort of doubt." This episode raised an important question. If the Chronovisor was capable of capturing the past with such precision, why didn't Ernetti present other evidence? Why didn't he reveal more complete recordings or other historical events? The answer was never given, but many believe he was forbidden to share further discoveries. Forbidden by whom? By the Vatican? By other greater forces? Or perhaps Ernetti himself realized that humanity was not ready for the truth the Chronovisor could reveal. In any case, Ernetti's account sparks deep reflection. What else did the Chronovisor reveal that never reached public knowledge? Did he see something that contradicted the historical narratives we know? Something so extraordinary or so disturbing that it had to be silenced? This silence is what makes the story of the Chronovisor even more fascinating. What did the machine show Ernetti, And what did he hide? Perhaps the biggest question is, what would you want to see if you could look through this window into time? The Chronovisor, with its near-divine potential to capture the past, could not go unnoticed by the institution that has acted for centuries as the guardian of spiritual and historical truths, the Vatican. For the Catholic Church, the machine created by Father Pellegrino Ernetti represented a double-edged sword. If it were real, it would have the power to strengthen faith by confirming biblical events that have upheld Christianity for millennia. But what if the images revealed something different? Something that could shake the foundations of religion, history, and power? According to accounts, shortly after the first tests of the Chronovisor, Father Ernetti was summoned to a secret meeting at the Vatican. The meeting allegedly occurred under the strictest secrecy, attended by cardinals and high-ranking theologians of the Church. The questions were direct. What did you see? How far can this machine go? Although the details of this meeting were never officially confirmed, the silence that followed was deafening. Shortly thereafter, any mention of the Chronovisor was quickly stifled, and Ernetti stopped speaking publicly about the subject with the same frequency. But why would the Church react this way? The answer, for many scholars, lies in the danger that truth represents. If the Chronovisor truly captured the past without any filter, it could confirm the crucifixion of Christ, the miracles, and the prophecies that uphold Christianity. However, it could also reveal unexpected or contradictory details that would shake the faith of millions. For example, what if the image of Christ were different from traditional representations? Or if moments considered sacred had occurred in a less glorious and more human manner? Furthermore, the Vatican knew that the Chronovisor had implications beyond religion. History, as we know it, was written by the victors. A machine capable of revealing the past with absolute precision could dismantle political narratives, expose historical frauds, and tear down myths carefully constructed over centuries. Who would have the power to control something like that? This risk became even clearer in 1988 when the Vatican issued an official decree that seemed straight out of a conspiracy novel. The Church expressly forbade the use of any technology that manipulated or captured temporal events, under penalty of immediate excommunication. The decree stated that such practices were an affront to faith and could lead to irreversible spiritual consequences. But here's the most intriguing part. Why forbid something that supposedly never existed? Why would a mere legend require such a severe response? This decree only reinforced suspicions that the Vatican knew more than it was willing to admit. Some theorists believe that the Church did not destroy the Chronovisor, but instead hid it in the Vatican's secret archives. These archives, inaccessible to the public, are known to contain documents and artifacts considered too sensitive to be revealed. What else might be hidden within? Could the Chronovisor be stored there, dismantled and kept in silence, waiting for the right moment to resurface? Other theories suggest that the Vatican not only used the Chronovisor to look into the past, but also to confirm prophecies yet to be fulfilled. The Church has always shown interest in prophetic visions, such as those of Fatima or the messages attributed to Saint Malachy. What if the Chronovisor had been used to verify these events? And what if what was seen revealed a future so dark that the only solution was to silence the machine and keep the secret? Father Ernetti never confirmed nor denied the Vatican's direct intervention. But his final interviews offer intriguing clues. When asked why he did not disclose more images or recordings made by the Chronovisor, he responded with an enigmatic phrase, "Not all truths are meant to be seen." This statement made it clear that he believed in the destructive power of what he had witnessed. But what could be so terrible that it needed to be hidden from humanity? Here arises a central question. Did the Vatican truly act to protect the faith and spirituality of the world? Or was it afraid of losing control over the historical and religious narrative? For centuries, the Church has been accused of hiding documents and truths that could profoundly alter our understanding of the past. What if the Chronovisor is the piece that connects all these secrets? Whatever the case may be, the Vatican's stance only deepens the mystery. The Church's silence is, in itself, an answer. If the Chronovisor never existed, why not simply deny everything in a straightforward manner? Why keep this subject shrouded in doubt and speculation? Perhaps the truth is more dangerous than any lie. In the end, the Chronovisor remains a symbol of the conflict between the search for truth and the fear of its consequences. The Church chose silence, but silence also speaks. After all, what did they see that made them decide to hide the Chronovisor from the world? The Chronovisor, described by Father Pellegrino Ernetti as a machine capable of tuning into the past, seems to challenge the laws of physics and even the limits of the human mind. How could a simple invention reveal time with such precision? The answer, according to modern theories, may lie at the intersection of science, spirituality, and the conspiracies surrounding humanity's technological advancements. From a scientific perspective, the idea of accessing the past is not as absurd as it seems. Modern physics, particularly the space-time theory proposed by Albert Einstein, suggests that time is not linear. It is, instead, a kind of flexible fabric where past, present, and future coexist simultaneously. Thus, historical moments do not disappear, they remain recorded, like chapters of a book still accessible. What is missing is a device capable of navigating these temporal layers. Could the Chronovisor be that key? Quantum physics also offers curious clues. Phenomena such as quantum entanglement and the collapse of the wave function show that reality, in its most fundamental form, is far more complex than we perceive. Some scientists suggest that subatomic particles may store temporal information, leaving a kind of energy trace in the universe. This directly connects to the theory defended by Father Ernetti. He believed that everything that happens generates vibrations that never fully dissipate. The Chronovisor, then, would function as an extremely sensitive antenna, capable of capturing these vibrational traces and converting them into images and sounds. But what if science alone is not enough to explain the Chronovisor? Many ancient spiritual traditions speak of eternal records of the past. The Akashic records, for example, are described as a cosmic library where every human thought, word, and action is stored. According to Theosophy and Hindu doctrines, anyone with the appropriate spiritual ability could access these records. Could the Chronovisor, then, be an attempt to transform into technology what already exists on the spiritual plane? This concept also finds parallels in alchemy, a practice that sought to unite the material and the spiritual in search of supreme knowledge. Alchemists believed that time is cyclical and that everything is interconnected through frequencies and vibrations. Father Ernetti, being a monk with scientific inclinations, may have combined alchemical and theological principles with the scientific advances of his time. However, the story of the Chronovisor does not end with science and spirituality. It inevitably connects to the conspiracy theories surrounding hidden technological advances. Some believe that the Chronovisor was not the only experiment to explore the dimensions of time. Secret projects, such as the famous Philadelphia experiment, allegedly sought to manipulate magnetic fields to bend time and space. Though officially denied, the story claims that a U.S. Navy ship disappeared and reappeared in another location, as if it had passed through a temporal portal. And this raises an intriguing question. How far are governments and powerful institutions willing to go to control time and history? If the Vatican, as many believe, hid the Chronovisor, could it mean that other world powers have tried, or are still trying, to recreate this technology in secret? Could the world have already witnessed the use of similar devices without even realizing it? Theorists suggest that technologies capable of capturing time could be exploited for narrative control or even global manipulation. Imagine a world where a machine could prove or disprove any historical event. How many wars, revolutions, and crises would be altered if the truth came to light? And what would happen if that truth were controlled only by an elite? The Chronovisor, in this sense, is more than an invention. It becomes a symbol of absolute power. He who controls the past controls the future. And perhaps this is why its story was so quickly silenced. Not because it didn't work, but because it worked too well. In the end, an inevitable reflection arises. Is humanity truly ready to uncover the secrets of time? And more importantly, how far would we go in our search for answers? Science, faith, and conspiracies show us that the desire to know the past is as old as humanity itself. But perhaps some truths must remain hidden, not because they are inaccessible, but because their impact could be devastating. Father Ernetti seemed to understand this. In his final words about the Chronovisor, he said, "The truth does not always set us free. Sometimes it destroys." Could the Chronovisor be proof that there are limits to what we should know? Or is it merely the beginning of an even deeper journey into the mysteries of the universe? The history of humanity is filled with mysteries. monumental ruins, advanced cultures that disappeared without explanation, and technologies that challenge our current understanding. Though archaeology has advanced, there are gaps that remain inexplicable. What if the Chronovisor had been used to fill those gaps, revealing the secrets of lost civilizations? What might Father Ernetti have seen by tuning into such remote eras? Consider, for instance, the legend of Atlantis, the continent described by Plato as an advanced civilization that vanished in a single day and night. Many believe Atlantis was more than a myth. It may have existed and achieved a level of technology so extraordinary that its feats challenge even the modern world. Could the Chronovisor have captured images of Atlantis before its fall? Might Father Ernetti have seen its streets, its colossal constructions, and the exact moment of its destruction? If Atlantis was real, its ruins remain at the bottom of the ocean, and the Chronovisor may have been the only window into its reality. Another civilization shrouded in mystery is that of the Egyptians. The pyramids of Egypt, built thousands of years ago, defy any logical explanation. Aligned with astronomical precision and constructed with stones so heavy they are difficult to move even today, these structures raise an unsettling question. How were they built? Father Ernetti's theory suggests that every moment leaves an energy record in time. What if the Chronovisor had revealed the secret of the pyramids? Perhaps the Egyptians had access to a technology or knowledge that was lost over time. Perhaps the Chronovisor showed workers moving the stones in ways that our modern eyes cannot comprehend. And what about the Maya and Aztec civilizations, which dominated Central America and whose calendars and astronomical knowledge continue to impress the world? They vanished abruptly, leaving behind pyramids, temples, and astonishing scientific knowledge. If the Chronovisor could capture the crucifixion of Christ, why couldn't it show what happened to these cultures? Could Ernetti have witnessed the final days of these civilizations? Or seen how their vibrant, thriving cities functioned at their peak? Furthermore, there are even older enigmas, such as the megalithic monuments scattered across the world. Stonehenge in England is one of the most famous examples, a circle of giant stones aligned with the cycles of the sun and moon. How were prehistoric peoples, without modern tools, able to erect such monuments? Could the Chronovisor have shown the builders of Stonehenge, and, more importantly, the true purpose behind its creation? Another intriguing mystery involves OOP arts, short for out-of-place artifacts. These are objects found in locations or geological layers where they should not exist, such as metal tools embedded in rocks millions of years old or ancient figurines representing inexplicable figures. Some theories suggest these artifacts are remnants of advanced civilizations that were forgotten or erased by history. Could the Chronovisor have recorded these lost eras? Father Ernetti never spoke about this, but simply speculating leads us to a fundamental question. What if the past is far older and more complex than we imagine? There are also accounts of civilizations that allegedly had contact with beings beyond this world. Many ancient cultures mention gods, who came from the stars and taught humanity the foundations of science, mathematics, and astronomy. The Sumerians, for example, spoke of the Anunnaki, beings who supposedly descended from the sky. The pyramids of Central America and the temples of India contain representations that seem to suggest something similar. Could the Chronovisor have captured these encounters? If it functioned as a window to time, could it have shown something that traditional history refuses to accept? The possibility that the Chronovisor revealed unknown civilizations cannot be dismissed. There are legends of cities that supposedly existed in places now covered by jungles or ice, such as the mythical city of El Dorado or the submerged structures in the Yonaguni Triangle, Japan. If these cultures truly existed, they challenge our historical timeline. And the Chronovisor, if real, could have shown that Earth's past is far richer, more complex, and older than we think. Ultimately, this chapter brings us to an inevitable reflection. What would humanity do if it had concrete proof of the existence of advanced civilizations in the past? Revelations of this kind could change how we understand human evolution, science, and even spirituality. Could these cultures be evidence that cycles of advancement and destruction repeat themselves over millennia? And if that is true, what does the future hold for us? Father Ernetti never mentioned these possibilities, but his omissions say as much as his words. Perhaps he saw more than he dared to share. Perhaps the Vatican hid the Chronovisor because it revealed a past so extraordinary that the world simply was not ready to accept it. After all, what else might be recorded in time, waiting to be discovered? The Chronovisor, described by Father Pellegrino Ernetti as a machine capable of capturing the past as if it existed in an invisible dimension beyond human perception, may have gone even further. What if, during its explorations, the Chronovisor captured echoes of the future, shedding light on ancient prophecies that remain shrouded in mystery to this day? This possibility, as absurd as it may seem, finds parallels in spiritual and religious traditions worldwide. Since antiquity, prophets and seers have spoken of future events with astonishing detail. Saint Malachi, for instance, predicted the end of the popes and the collapse of the church in his famous prophetic list. Nostradamus, in his cryptic Centuries, described wars, plagues, and revolutions that still resonate today. But how did these men gain access to such visions? What if their prophecies were not intuitions or divine revelations, but fragments captured by something akin to the Chronovisor? Father Ernetti never publicly confirmed that the Chronovisor could look into the future. Yet there are unofficial accounts that he mentioned seeing prophecies verified, as if the images captured by the machine were irrefutable proof that time follows pre-written patterns. This raises a troubling question. Did the Chronovisor reveal the future as an absolute certainty or merely as possibilities? One of the most intriguing stories involves the apparitions of Fatima, which occurred in 1917 in Portugal. According to records, 3 children received messages from Mary, the mother of Jesus, including prophecies about wars, the fall of nations, and a catastrophic event that could destroy humanity. The third secret of Fatima was kept hidden by the church for decades, and when it was finally revealed in 2000, many believed the message had been partially withheld. What if the Vatican, fearing for humanity, used the Chronovisor to verify the Fatima prophecies? Could this be the reason for the secrecy surrounding the machine? Many speculate that what was seen was not just a confirmation of the messages, but something even more terrifying. The end of our civilization, a cataclysmic event so devastating it had to be kept under absolute secrecy. Other theories suggest that the Chronovisor may have captured glimpses of the final judgment described in the Book of Revelation. Imagine a machine showing images of global-scale natural disasters, nuclear wars, or the collapse of human society. These events, which sound like fiction, align with prophecies present in many cultures: the Norse Ragnarok, the Hindu Kali Yuga, and John's visions in the Christian apocalypse. Could the Chronovisor have revealed that the end of times is not merely a spiritual metaphor but a real event awaiting its manifestation? The possibility of observing the future also raises a fascinating scientific question. According to modern physics, time can be understood as a static dimension where the future already exists, just like the past. The Chronovisor, by accessing vibrational records of time, may have captured not only what happened but also signs of what is to come. In this case, would the future be something fixed, an inevitable sequence of events waiting to be revealed? Or is there room for change, like a blank page waiting to be written? If the Vatican truly used the Chronovisor to glimpse the future, its decision to silence the machine begins to make sense. It would not be merely about protecting faith or history, but about protecting humanity from itself. Knowing the future could be far more dangerous than we imagine. What impact would it have on people to know the world is destined for catastrophic ruin? How would governments react upon discovering that their actions are irrelevant in the face of an inevitable fate? Father Ernetti seemed to understand this dilemma. Although he never spoke openly about the future, he left cryptic phrases that fuel speculation. In one of his final statements, he said, "There are truths that humanity is not ready to accept. Some things must remain hidden until we are able to comprehend them." Was this a reference to something he saw with the Chronovisor? This raises the most unsettling question of all. What would you do if you could see the future? Would you use that knowledge to try to change it, despite the consequences, or would you prefer to live without knowing what lies ahead? Perhaps the Vatican chose the safer path, hiding the Chronovisor not just to protect the past, but to keep humanity from the unbearable weight of knowing its own destiny. In the end, the Chronovisor offers a silent warning. Perhaps there are limits to what we should know. If the past is a mirror reflecting our origins, the future is an abyss that may reveal truths we are simply not prepared to face. And you? What would you choose? The comfort of ignorance or the responsibility of knowing what time holds? The Chronovisor, whether myth or reality, challenges everything we know about time, history, and humanity itself. It emerges as a machine that breaks the boundaries between science, spirituality, and mystery, offering answers that are both fascinating and terrifying. If it truly existed, it may have revealed the great scenes of the past, the secrets of lost civilizations, and perhaps glimpses of a future we are not ready to face. Ultimately, the true impact of the Chronovisor goes beyond the images captured or the historical moments revisited. It forces us to confront questions that strike at the core of who we are. Are we prepared to know the whole truth? What if the past is far more complex than we imagine? What if the future is already written, waiting only to be discovered? Perhaps the silence of the Vatican and Father Ernetti was a way to protect us from truths that could destroy the fragile balance in which we live. And now I want to hear from you. What other spiritual topics would you like to see here? Leave your suggestions in the comments and help shape the channel's upcoming content. If you're interested in exploring more about spirituality, I've specially selected a few videos full of deep knowledge and fascinating discoveries that you'll love. Just click on one of them. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue this journey of self-discovery and spiritual learning. Your commitment to knowledge is the first step toward transforming your reality.